The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles have been pillars of pop culture since the late 80s and early 90s, with shows, movies, comics, and even musical tours. But there's one thing they've never succeeded at: construction lines. In a period of 20 years, there's been 4 construction TMNT lines, and not one has managed to be successful. Even Lego's attempt was a failure. But why did Lego TMNT fail? Why could it not make it to a 3rd year? Let's begin. It all starts in 2003, with the release of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mega Bloks sets. The theme consisted of 6 sets, mostly small vehicles paired up with locations, and they weren't bad. I'd even argue some looked fun. The sets included canisters of ooze to really spice up play, which some will argue was ahead of its time. I will argue it was a really bad idea. As a fan of the 03 Turtles, I do have to say, that layer set looks really cool. I actually wouldn't mind getting this one. But the problem with the 03 line was the figures. They were nightmarish at best. Like, the turtles are decent looking, but everything else is just awful. Especially the human heads. At this point, Mega is still trying to find its footing, and not surprisingly, this line was a flop. Nowadays, these sets are mostly looked at as collector pieces, just at how bizarre they were. I'm sure more sets were planned, but Mega decided the IP wasn't worth it and moved on. It wouldn't be till 10 years later when Lego and Turtles finally joined forces, and to say it lived up to expectations is an understatement. These sets absolutely rock. Now, your opinion on these sets may change depending on your biases towards the 2012 show, but I believe Lego TMNT marked a precedent of what a modern Lego theme can be, with a combination of locations and vehicles paired up with unique, exclusive minifigures at accessible price points. Every set in this wave had a unique mold exclusive to it. And I know, some will argue that some sets had mid to lackluster builds. Like, yeah, I'm not gonna lie, this set isn't a masterpiece, but for $10, what more can you ask for? And on that note, I will also argue the oversized bike trope wasn't overused in 2013, so at this time, this set felt fresh and appealing. But by far the best set out of this wave was the Shell Racer Street Chase. I still consider this to be one of my favorite Lego sets of all time. It's a perfect mix of good guys and bad guys, with a brand new type of minifigure in Dogbound, exclusive to the set by the way, and a great group vehicle in the Shell Racer. With a total piece count of 620 pieces, retailing for $60, this was a steal. Overall, Year 1 of Turtles definitely delivered. Now, jumping into Year 2, the theme expanded. This time around, it actually had 2 waves, one in the spring and one in the summer. The spring wave consisted of 5 sets, mostly based on the Nick show, and they did more of the same: locations and vehicles. And they were still very unique in terms of build variety, and most importantly for me, the amazing character design was still there, and there was something for everyone. Cheap sets with desirable minifigures, unique turtle vehicles with cool mutants, and a location playset. The standout set of this wave was the Turtle Sub, and again, a good group vehicle with an exclusive, completely new molded minifigure that did not elevate the price point. This set had 684 pieces and retailed for $60. The second wave of the year was based on the brand new Michael Bay produced movie, which was very divisive. Some people liked it, most people didn't. But that aside, the sets were good. They even made new molds for the Turtles, and I personally really like how the figures look. In terms of the sets, the Turtles van is probably the weakest out of all 3, but it's the only way to get Mike because we were kind of forced to buy it. The Big Rig Snow Getaway, some will argue, is such a hidden gem, but for $70 it was a tad bit steep for me back then. But still a good set nonetheless. And by far the standout set of the wave was the Turtle Lair. Compared to the one from the year before, this was an upgrade in every sense of the word. Retailing for $100, it was the only way to get Movie Shredder, Donnie, and Splinter. And the actual build was so much fun, with a giant slide and other goodies scattered around. The possibilities of play were just endless. It felt like Turtles was just finding its footing. It was trending upwards. It was just about to reach its peak. But shockingly, this is where the theme comes to an end. By January 1st, 2015, the first 2 waves of the theme had retired, and by August of 2015, the movie wave retired. Its cancellation was so sudden, nobody could see it coming, right? Well, you see, I spoke to some former Lego employees that worked around those times, and it was actually pretty evident the theme was not performing as expected. For starters, their sets were really expensive to produce, and not enough sets were being sold. I've heard the first wave sold solid enough. Baxter's Robot Rampage is the only set from the first year that sold poorly from my understanding. The second wave, on the other hand, most of these sets would just sit on shelves for months and go on sale frequently. which is why this wave was retired only 9 months after launch. So, what happened? Considering Turtles is such an established brand, it should have been a smash hit like Star Wars or Harry Potter, right? Well, the theme was a year behind on the content. There wasn't really that marketing synergy. All the sets were loosely based on the first couple episodes of the show that came out in 2012, and by the time the sets came out in 2013, the show had already introduced newer characters, fan favorites like Mutant Man, Slash, Tiger Claw, Metalhead, and these were not represented in the sets. And the characters they did put in from later on, like Mutated Dr. O'Neill or Spider Bites, even though they were great minifigures, nobody wanted them. As a former kid myself, I didn't even want them. But my point is that the second year was an improvement from a technical aspect, but its appeal went down. While speaking to other LEGO fans, I realized that most people just wanted to get the main 4 Turtles and Shredder, and after that their interest in the theme dwindled. And let's be honest, most TMNT fans want what they grew up with. They want the 87 Turtles van, not the Trailblazer. They want Bebop and Rocksteady, not Fish Face and Dog Pound. Which is sad but true. It doesn't matter how good the product is, if it's not what people want, they just won't buy it. The movie sets are a great example. The sets were good, but if you didn't like the movie, the likelihood of you wanting these sets was very low. We also have to consider LEGO had another ninja-based brand in Ninjago, and while TMNT and Ninjago are pretty different, there is an argument that Ninjago was more popular than Turtles at that time. And so if a kid had to choose between these two, kids probably chose Ninjago. And LEGO owns Ninjago, so it's cheaper for them to keep producing Ninjago and not have to pay royalties to Paramount. And it sucks for people like me, who adore the 2012 show, and really wanted to see more characters from that era of Turtles make it into LEGO. But it just wasn't meant to be. LEGO TMNT, as good as I think it was, is a failure. And now remains dead in this endless graveyard of failed toy lines. But this isn't the end for Turtles in plastic brick form. In early 2015, Mega announced they reacquired the rights to TMNT, and in 2016 they came out with a brand new line. They put out sets based on pretty much everything. The 2012 show, the old Mirage comics, the 87 Turtles show, and even for the 2016 movie. They made so many sets there was something for everyone. For old school Turtle fans, it relied heavily on nostalgia and recognizability. For new school Turtle fans, it relied on gimmicks like zip lines, grappling hooks, and action movements. And it also presented this loose modular system where you could attach all the sets together. And I believe that's exactly what the LEGO theme lacked. The Mega Bloks sets could appeal to both types of Turtle fans. They even sold individual characters on their own, something I don't think LEGO would dare do. But Mega took the risk. They went all for it. In 2017, Mega Bloks rebranded into Mega Construx, and the Turtles theme came back, but smaller. It wasn't this big bang wave as the previous year. It was just a couple of sets based on the 2012 show, and a summer wave of mutation canisters based on the 87 Turtles show. And since the 2017 line was so small, you can probably figure out that the line ended shortly after. Why? Because the line was not selling. Funny enough, I found some 2016 Mega sets still haunting a local toy store near my house. The sad thing is, these sets look awesome. It's such a shame Turtles just hasn't been able to sell construction toys, because I believe they fit well in this world, and there's a lot I want to see these brands do with the IP. Before I end the video, I do want to iterate something. Just because I don't collect Mega doesn't mean I think it's bad. And I will actually argue Mega Bloks outdid LEGO this one time around. Their second TMNT line was superior to LEGO in some ways. Maybe not in terms of build quality, because I do think the LEGO sets looked better, but Mega understood what fans wanted. They put a lot of thought into making the kids line fun and the adults line appealing. But sometimes less is more. And I think Mega's failure comes from showing all their cards at the same time and not gradually giving the fans more and more. In other words, they overproduced. It sucks that the story keeps repeating itself. Like, it doesn't matter how many companies acquire the rights for a TMNT construction line. It seems they just won't sell, for a variety of reasons. Is this a TMNT curse? Who knows? Only time will tell. Finally, the construction TMNT lines end in 2022, with the release of the Snap and Switch TMNT sets from Well Play Toys. I have never heard of this company in my life. But about a month ago, I was walking through a discount store and I found a whole bunch of these for $5, and I came really close to buying one of them, but they look really cheap and I didn't want to waste my money. It is kind of sad that both of the biggest construction brands in the world probably won't ever make toys based on an IP like Turtles. That means so much to so many people, because when they did, it flopped. But that's just how life works sometimes. To finish off the video, I want to make it clear, I'm a massive TMNT fan, and in a perfect world, Lego TMNT would have never ended, and we would be getting yearly waves based on the movies, the shows, even the classic Turtles. But hey, that's just my brick opinion. Thanks for watching and take care.